Right, I wonder if there's a few fault lines starting to emerge in India's one-day side as India lose to the West Indies at home in Pune after having almost lost to the West Indies in Visakhapatnam as well. So lots to talk about. Who knows, maybe there's something good will come out of this as well. Zaheer Khan is here, Ajay Jadeja is here as well. 283 was gettable, wasn't it?
Oh, certainly I definitely thought I was one of those who believed that there isn't much in the pitch. Looking at how the Indian cricket's been going about, 283 is not a very big total these days, so nothing that there was no worrying signs. And I mean, not just me, I think even the Indian team would be disappointed today.
Yes, so let's take a look at the numbers before I go to Zach. All that happened today. 283 to chase. Shea Hope got 100. He's a wonderful player. Well, almost got 100. He's 95. And then we saw very good contributions from Nurse, 40 not out, and then picked up 2 for 43, which should make him a strong contender for player of the match in spite of Virat Kohli's, customary 100. He just went and did what he does. 107 from 119 balls. But that scorecard also highlights once again the dominant position that Kohli plays in that Indian side and the greater role that he's being called upon to play. Hetmeyer 37 of 21, Nurse 40 of 22. That made the difference between 220 and 280. Bumrah was excellent, but India's batting revolved around Virat Kohli, 107. That's 300s in a row, by the way. He's now got 62 international hundreds. 62, that's a lot of hundreds.
Well, each year has been getting better than the other, isn't it? It's been a phenomenal run by Virat Kohli. I think, it's just something, which we always talk about. We run out of adjectives, we run out of describing this young man, and he's
look at those names there. These are names like Jacques Kallis, Sangakkara, Ponting. We take those names with a bit of hushed silence. These have been greats of our game. And sometimes when the player is still a contemporary player, you don't know whether you want to put him among those. And yet he's level with them. I think Kallis more test hundreds than Kohli. Kohli more one-day hundreds. But that's the nature of the changing game.
In such a short time as well, it doesn't matter how many rules have changed. It doesn't matter what kind of conditions or what kind of bowling you're playing against. To achieve this kind of consistency is remarkable. That's something which Virat Kohli will always be associated with, the intent, the energy which he brings to the field, the way he is throwing himself around, whether he's got bat in his hand or he's in the field, the very transparent expression and the emotions which he showcases is always visible, and he will be disappointed. He will be disappointed because he's not used to scoring hundreds and ending up on losing sides. So that's something which we all know how much of all the people this loss will be hurting Virat the most, because he's someone who will not take these kind of things lying down. There is a pattern which has developed. That's something which is concerning, because you are relying too much on the top three.
Yes.
And that's something which is getting more and more evident, that if you don't get the kind of start which you're looking at. It was a decent start today as well. Even though Indian team lost Rohit Sharma early on,
80-85-1.
They recovered well, I think. And from that stage, you just look at these kind of totals. It's just about getting those 2-3 partnerships. If you look at the partnerships which Indian team has got, there's only one standout partnership of 80 runs, I think, between Shikhar and 79, if I'm not mistaken. Between Shikhar and Virat, and after that we just kind of those partnerships couldn't really get going. There were some soft dismissals as well, which the team needs to ask hard questions about these things. It's a process of learning, and you have to be able to bail your team out of any kind of situation, and that's something which has been the same kind of question over the last couple of years now, and that's something which is high time that those questions get answered.
So to that extent, that's why I said right at the start that maybe this will force closer analysis. Let's end the Kohli story before we go to Ajay, because Kohli was batting in a run chase, and most often Kohli does finish run chases. So 2018's been an absolutely awesome year for Virat Kohli. It's a year that he hopes will never finish, though it's a year he hopes will produce will produce better results than this one. I mean, look at all those one days. The lowest is there's a 36 there. There's a 46 not out. Let's move on. There's 300s in there already. Then there's a 45 and these 300. It's just been an incredible year. I mean, yeah. I think we should just be alive to the fact that there is a very special player in our midst, and just enjoy every single moment that he throws at us. But Ajay, yes, I'm going to, as someone who batted at 6 and was in a lot of run chases, who always talks about why 6 is a tougher decision. Now, here's some numbers for you. Bhuvneshwar Kumar is out with a total on 215. So, what, 69 runs were needed of 59 balls? And you had a top order player batting 90. Your thesis is that a number 6 not out batsman would have approached the situation differently from a number 3.
Because, see, that number 3 and or the top order, 1, 2, 3, whoever's got in, and if they are chasing a total, no matter what the total is, you generally have 7, 8 wickets left in the bag. So the opposition is playing differently. They've got different fields for you. You don't have the pressure at that stage because you could take chance whenever you want and you can go back. When you're 6 down or 5 down or 4 down and you are the last couple of recognized batsmen in the side, the opposition knows that you can't be taking chances at that time. You make one mistake and the game is gone. Whereas, so the whole balance of the game changes there. It's not the player alone, because we saw that with, you know, the great Virat Kohli, and luckily we were, not luckily, but we were on air at over number 35 and Dhoni and Kohli were both batting, and I said this at that time as well, that if Dhoni gets out, I think we are in bigger trouble, because I haven't seen Virat Kohli for a while. I mean, he's chased down totals brilliantly, but never with number 9, 10, 11, 12. Or 8, 9, 10, sorry, not 9, 11, 12. So that's...
You added Kohli as 2 players. So that's
Kohli is 11 players, not just 2. So that's the difference. So I wanted to see what happens when that happens. So when Bhuvneshwar Kumar walks in, he's got 10 overs, 70 to get, not a big ask at that stage. But you look at the balls before he got out as well. It was Bhuvneshwar Kumar who was taking chances, was throwing his bat. Had Dhoni been there, one thing for sure, I'm not saying that we would have won for sure, Bhuvneshwar Kumar wouldn't have been allowed to take chances by Dhoni, because the message that would have gone across would have been, hang around, don't worry, we'll see it, let it go to 8, let it go to 9, let's get closer to the innings. Whereas with Kohli, we saw just the opposite. He was asked, I mean, I'm presuming here, I don't know, but I'm presuming because we've had this experience over the years, that the batsman at the other end decides how a tail-ender plays actually. So you saw him throw that bat, he got one boundary at mid-on, and then suddenly you saw one getting out at deep mid.
You also made an interesting point about Kohli being someone, and we're talking about Kohli and Dhoni not as a comparison, but just as 2 standout one-day cricketers of our times, that Kohli is someone who always likes to be ahead of the chase. And that Dhoni doesn't mind being behind the chase because he's confident he'll catch up at the end. Is that a mindset? Is that what you're saying? Numbers 3 and 6 just approach chases differently.
These 2 we've seen for sure. And there is a reason for that. And that's why when the guys bat at the top, they're always ahead of the run rate, because you've still got 8 wickets or 9 wickets or whatever number of wickets left. So you can take that chance and be ahead of the game. So something that goes wrong, the tail or the latter batsmen who come in don't have such a big problem. But you have no other choice when you're batting at 6 with the tail. What is the choice that you have? If you try and be ahead of the run rate and you lose a wicket, you're out of the game. So you try and be in the game. There are 2 ways of playing. Not saying which is the correct one, so each one plays differently, and Kohli certainly does that. So all the run chases that we've had, luckily in the last 2-3 years, is what we've won with 4 overs to spare, 5 overs to spare, because it's Kohli or Rohit Sharma, Shikhar Dhawan, or one of the guys at the top. But you see that with either Mahendra Singh Dhoni or even with Kedar Jadhav. I mean, when he bats at 6, very few games, not a big number to look at, but see that it will probably be last ball 4 to win, last over 11 to get, 12 to get. So you have no choice. That's the way you have to play, and I think that's the way because it's not just you playing. See, you're playing against an opposition. There's a captain on the other side. They have their resources, so they're managing their resource. So if you bat at 5, 6 and 7, you have no choice but play behind the run rate. And I understand fans watching at home always say this, oh, why is he taking it? Why is he taking till the end? But there's a plan that a team has, and you got to work towards it. And we had an opportunity today at over number 35, 2 greats of Indian cricket, Virat Kohli and Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Both were batting at that stage. One of them gets out, you knew how the game was going to go. And it went exactly that way. And then at the end, it's again left to them. So if it was Dhoni left and had Virat Kohli got out after getting 100, everybody would have said, "Arey, yaar, Dhoni is doing nothing. Virat Kohli's got a number 100. So now say, Virat Kohli is the only one who's scoring, but look at the others. Nobody is doing anything else." So number 6 is that position where you don't play the way you would like to play. The game and the situation of the game dictates how you're going to go into that run chase. So whether it's Kohli or it's Dhoni, you see.
Says somebody who scored hundreds from number 6. So we'll take Ajay Jadeja's.
Thank you for being so kind.
1, 2, 3. Nah, I followed your career, Ajay. So even if you're the kind who might underplay it, I'm okay with that. But it's a very interesting call because there are 2 questions that come out of today's game. One is, of course, this very interesting point that Ajay brought up about the manner in which the top order approaches a run chase and the lower order. The other is the balance of the side. Today, Bhuvneshwar was at 7. And Bhuvneshwar was at 7 because India chose 5 bowlers and he was the best batsman among the 5 bowlers. Are you happy with this balance? Because typically, you want to have a 6th bowling option.
I'm very glad that you brought this point out because that was the next thing which I was thinking in my mind that, okay, Bhuvneshwar Kumar at number 7. I think it's too high for Bhuvneshwar Kumar to bat at number 7. Yeah. And that's something, another lesson, another brainstorming session will happen around that within the team management, that if we have to go with such a long tail, you know, there might be a situation where you have to face the similar kind of situation again. And at that stage, maybe you will get a similar kind of result because then you don't have power at the back end, you know. So that's why maybe Mr. Jadeja's namesake should have been there, you know, at that position in place of Chahal. You might see that kind of experimentation as well because they've been still figuring out in terms of combinations what kind of different combinations you can play, especially when you don't have Hardik Pandya.
If you've got 2 spinners and 2 fast bowlers who don't bat, who don't bat, then you've got to find a way around. I actually think you should have 8 batting options. You should have batting up to number 8. We saw that with the West Indies today. Number 9 came and played an innings that made a difference. And number 4 picked up 3 wickets at the end. So the West Indies had 8, 9 batting options and 6, 7 bowling options. They may not have the class of a Kohli or a Rohit in that side, but they had more people who could do things in that side.
Exactly. I think if you look at the graph of both the innings of West Indies and India, you'll find the similarity at around over number 40. The difference was West Indies could bat deep, and that's why they're able to go with the intent which Ajay has been talking about right throughout the series, that, you know, they're having that kind of intent, and they're able to get that anchor role in Shea Hope. So that's something which is very important. So when you're getting close to 300, you need one guy to score 100 runs, and then you need people to rally around him. So we from Indian side today, you saw that 100, but the other power also which was required, you know, when probably at number 7, if Ravindra Jadeja was batting, you could have had that kind of hope.
Yes.
You know, for Indian team at that stage.
In the Asia Cup game, I think.
Similar kind of situation.
Yeah, it was. Now, I mean, we are talking about India because our audience is largely India. But remember, the West Indies were 121 for 5. And then Shea Hope and Jason Holder put on a partnership. Holder, I think, can bat higher in any case. And then again, there were 227 for 8. Which showed the depth in the batting that India hasn't had for a while, actually. Ever since India moved away from Ashwin and Jadeja as the 2 spinners to Chahal and Kuldeep, who won you a lot of games, to be fair. They've been fantastic for India winning games, but that has reduced the batting.
And that partnership that you mentioned, I mean, that would be the most disappointing part for India because in that partnership, what happened? You know, Bumrah looked a different bowler from Bhuvneshwar Kumar. So we're talking of somebody as an all-rounder, but I think the primary job as a bowler, if the way I see it, I'm always a firm believer, you've got to have best 5 bowlers that you have. Because in a one-day game, it's a limited over game. You have only 300 balls to play. 8 out of 10 times, you will have your top 6 play those 300 balls. It's the twice, and today is one of those occasions. But in 10 out of 10 times, you'll have your 5 bowlers bowl 60 balls if you need to win. So I'm of that belief. So that partnership made a difference because I think, and that partnership, 20 runs were off just that 1 over. Not that we've lost because of that. So Bhuvneshwar Kumar as a bowler, I thought, was not up to the mark as well. And those partnerships make a big difference. I would love to have 8, as you said, players who can, bat till number 8 and have 7 bowlers who could bowl. But at the end of the day, this is what we've got. And now what are we talking about? He's talking about Ravindra, And he mentioned Hardik. These are two players, in the entire last year of Indian cricket. If there's a question after every game, why is Hardik playing? Why is this Ravindra playing? So when they're not there, we're thinking about them. But it's not that we have an all-rounder in Kapil Dev sitting out there and come and play.
In an ideal situation, one of your top 5 bowls a bit, or you have a wicket keeper in the top
Rohit.
5, and 6 and 7 are all-rounders, 8 can bat.
Ajay wants Rohit to bowl.
No, see,
It's honestly, it's perplexed me.
So someone needs to take that extra.
Anybody who
perplexed
comes
me.
in
Yeah.
into the side, always gets better, and you want, that's how a team should be developing. We've had players who've come into the side when they bowled and fielded and batted, and then when they're batting, they're not bowling. And come IPL, he'll be bowling for his team. So it's not.
It's actually a long time since Rohit Sharma has bowled, but Rohit Sharma
so
has
you've got
that.
to use
he's
your
got that
resource.
action, he's got everything, yeah.
In fact, when Samuels came on to bowl, I thought, oh, they made a mistake because they'd left. If you were going to only bowl 5 overs, you would have had one over less. So I thought it was a make-up plan. Chalo, ek over isse karana padega. And then you ended up.
There's something about Jason Holter, the captain, isn't there?
He's a very good captain. We last 2 games we've been talking with Joy and saying the same thing. He has no arsenal, but he's still using his resources as well as he can. He's rotating things. He's not sticking to something. When he had Thompson, I forget his name.
Shane Thomas.
He gave him the new ball. But when he's not there, then he uses the new ball. So it's not that, oh, I'm the captain, I bowl the new ball and I'll carry on bowling. So he's used his players, I've got to say, much better than our captain, at least in this series.
So what do India do going into the next game? You want another bowling option? Maybe you want Bhuvi to bat a little lower. Do you find that Kedar Jadhav therefore should come in? But if Kedar Jadhav comes in,
Kedar will be back.
But if Kedar comes in, if he comes in at 7, it's not good enough. He can't bat at 7. He's got to bat at 6. So you still need somebody at 7. If Bhuvneshwar has to bat at 8, and if he bats at 6, do you leave out Rishabh Pant? Do you pause?
I think I see it's heading that way. You would want to strengthen your batting because it's evident that if you lose wickets up front, there can be a repeat of this kind of a situation in a match. So you would want to strengthen your batting as well. So Bhuvneshwar, to me, I think should bat at number 8. Kuldeep can bat a bit. So Kuldeep can bat at number 9, and basically that means that Chahal will be replaced by Ravindra Jadeja.
Or you play 3 spinners and leave out someone like a Khalil.
I think even if Khalil goes out, Umesh will be coming back. They would want to have a 3-seam option for sure, because that gives you freedom of using different bowlers in different scenarios as well. That will also give you freedom to use Jasprit Bumrah as attacking option. You can bring him back in the middle overs. When you have 2 seamers, you in a way get limited as a captain in terms of using your resources of seam up bowlers. So that's something which I don't see happening. They will continue with 2 spinners and 3 seamers.
So if Kedar Jadhav has to come into the side, who does he come in place of?
It's a tough call because there's not much you can do with a 4 bowler. I would not leave Chahal out because he's been your premier bowler, and the reason why everything's going well for you because you've been picking up wickets in the middle. So I would not like to leave that out. You'll have to do something with the top 6. You'll either have to change the order. Not many people would like to come back, or somebody would want to go up. Rishabh Pant would probably get the axe. Unfortunately, that's how it works.
Because it's decided that Dhoni is going to play through to the 2019 World Cup.
Yeah,
so the more he plays, the better. But if you've taken that call...
if you're going to take a call that, you're not going to have Mahendra Singh Dhoni and you have a better player, then you take that call. But I don't think that call will be taken unless Dhoni decides to take it. But the way, you've announced a team yesterday, there is no way that it won't affect a human being. I mean, this is Mahendra Singh Dhoni. I'm saying anybody else also. If you've been left out last night from a side which you were hoping to be in or would want to be in, that would affect. So it's the top 6 that you'll have to mess with, because your top 5, the latter 5 are almost. Khalil was somebody you tried. So as he says, Umesh Yadav probably comes in, or Ravindra, depending on the kind of wicket that you have. You need 6 players. If you don't give top 6 this batting solidity at the back, the top 3 would not be able to play with the freedom that they played in the last couple of years. You'll see that change coming, because the freedom that they have over the years is you have Dhoni at 6. So you've gone and played your shots, played the way you like to play, because he would take care at the end. And now that is not happening, it will start putting pressure on the top 3 to play differently, because like he said, there will be a brainstorming. People will sit and say, look, whoever gets in carries on. We shouldn't get out. Like Shikhar Dhawan, the way he got out today and the day before, is after getting set. Rohit Sharma gets out first over, second over, anybody can get out. Dhoni gets out batting first 10 runs is the same thing. But it's not looked at the same. Because at the start of the game, it's considered, ki, oh, ho sakta hai out. But in the middle of the game, the guy at 5 and 6, how can he get out? So, first 10, 12 runs for any batsman, whatever number you bat, is pretty similar.
If you ever start a company, you must call it Number 6 Incorporated. We support.
So that's the devil's number, isn't it?
Is it? Number 6, we support.
No, we support because I can feel that.
But you know, funnily, in his decline, Dhoni is showing up what a great player he was. Because in his decline, he's opening up a hole that with many other teams would have existed, which didn't for India because of Dhoni's greatness, isn't it?
Absolutely, I think, you know, he's someone who has been carrying that responsibility, and you know, you can always see that when he's there, it doesn't matter how many runs he's getting. You know, you'll always feel that that the match is under control. You know, that's the feeling, that's the support, that's the confidence which he gets to everyone, even people who are just watching the game. You know, they'll say, okay, 13 runs per over doesn't matter. You know, if Dhoni is there is a chance.
Interesting you say that, because all three of us were there in the India-Sri Lanka game where India lost 6 wickets to Akila Dhananjaya, remember? And then India won with Dhoni and Bhuvneshwar. Even when Dhoni and Bhuvneshwar were batting, India were a long way away. You didn't think India were going to lose the game.
Oh, you've definitely won more games than you would have won if it wasn't for Dhoni. And let's look at numbers differently. I mean, we've had these 3 games, right? Dhoni's failed a couple of innings. So has Shikhar Dhawan. Shikhar Dhawan had 3 chances and he's failed twice or thrice. And Dhoni's only failed once or twice out of 2. So it's the same number. And everybody's going to look at number 4 and say, oh, Raidu's failed today. The problem with us is, I mean, all of us who are in this broadcasting business, is we look at just today. Whereas the team and the captain and the selectors have to look in the past and in the future. We look at just today and we'll come back tomorrow with another story and we'll carry on from there. But unfortunately for the captain and the selectors and the whole BCCI, they have to look at the past whether you like it or not. So it'll be very difficult. So Raidu is probably the other guy. So it's either Raidu, who's had 1 knock today which has gone wrong. He's been not out in the last 2 innings.
Including a 70
So he's had a 60-70% success. Rishabh's a youngster who's just come in, so you should actually be giving time. But if there is going to be a change, it'll be Khalil and one of these 2. There'll be 2 changes and it'll be these 2.
So you think the ideal change can be
no, I'm saying
in place of Raidu, Kedar Jadhav comes back in?
I'm saying there are 2 ways of looking at it. One way of looking at a team is that, look, we're going to play our best team and all we want to do is win. Then you go by just winning, and if you're not good enough to win, you keep changing. The other is what I keep hearing from Indian cricket team and from the coach, from the captain, from the selector. Oh, we are building a side. We are trying to go to the World Cup. So if you're building a side, there is no way Rishabh Pant should be left out. If you're building a side, there is no way Raidu should be left out, because these guys have just come in a couple of games ago and you're building. So you're looking at the future. So wait, give them more time. If you're building a side for the World Cup and Dhoni is part of it, then he's not the one to be left out. The guys who are certain are the ones who need to rest if you're building a side. Otherwise, if you're losing games like this, you have no choice.
In an ideal situation, the last 15 games before the World Cup, you shouldn't be making too many changes either. It should be the similar lot playing. What about the Windies themselves? I must get used to calling them Windies, by the way. I didn't like the expression Windies. I mean, what, windy, not windy. But it's because the West Indies have such an aura associated with them. But when they lost the Test series, everyone said, the West Indies can't play. But they're an outstanding white ball side. The smaller the game, the better they are. But we must keep in mind that India have lost to a side that did not qualify initially for the 2019 World Cup. It should actually have been 2-1. India should have been 2-1 down by now. So the West Indies are actually making the most of what they have. And you've got to give them a lot of credit for the way they've played the last 2 games.
Absolutely. You've got to give them credit. They've turned it around. Whether it's the players that they've changed or I think one of the things that I've observed in the first game as well is the approach that they've had. Look at the 3 games that they played. 2 games they've got to 320, 1 chasing, 1 they set the total. Today is about 283, 283. Depending on the wicket, depending on whatever, the run rate has remained the same from the first 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And that's how West Indies always played. They like dominating. And whatever arsenal that they have, they're dominating. Whether they're 3 down, they're 5 down, 6 down, they've carried on playing at that same rate. So unlike what was happening in the past with the Windies or West Indies, or they were struggling, is that if they lose 2, 3, 4 wickets, then you had a couple of players who would hang around 30, 40 of 80 balls. So it looked good. The numbers looked good for those 2, 3, 4 batsmen. And you were always short of 40 runs in a game or 30 runs in a game. So I like the style that they're playing in. And their style is to attack. And this is what comes naturally to them. And they've found some good talent as well. So it's a combination of few things. And the captain has been backed for years. When we were there 3 years ago, our friend Jeffrey Dujon didn't like the captain and he thought he was too nice a man. But even somebody like him, who if you've given him 3 years, he's learned the ropes of captaincy, and I think the dividends are paying now.
Also, they've got players like Jason Holder at 7. Then they had Fabian Allen, but they also had Ashley Nurse, all batting one number below where they can, which is a great sign of balance in a side, isn't it? Each one batting one number below where they can. Do you see them playing the same side? I mean, they used O'Shane Thomas once in the past. They've made a few changes with their bowling, but you'll go ahead.
Well, I think the old saying suggests that don't tinker with the winning combination. I think they should settle for this kind of combination now. That's what you'll see in the matches coming. But I think this side is growing in confidence, and now they can believe. When they started the series, and the way first game has gone, no one would have thought that West Indies will come back in the series and the series is going to be competitive. They've played a fantastic second match. They've been coming close to 300 mark every match. So 3 matches in a row. If you are putting up such a performance, then that belief is getting stronger and stronger. You've seen it with someone like Shai Hope as well. The graph in the series itself, in terms of confidence and the way he's been approaching his batting, like this innings, even though he missed his 100, is probably better than the last innings which he's played. And he looked positive. He looked aggressive in his approach. So that's something which is going to make the series interesting now from here on in, because now they suddenly know that you can put pressure, you get early wickets, and then you can make a match out of it. So that's something that confidence can play a huge role now in the remaining 2 matches.
Yeah, 2 matches. India need to win both to win the series. It's the kind of result that you don't mind getting now, 15 games away from a World Cup, rather than in the middle of a World Cup when you're stuck with the squad that you have. Well, today Shai Hope made 95, Virat Kohli got 100, but man of the match was Ashley Nurse, and we all thought he deserved it. 40 not out, picked up 2 for 43, which leaves us now, there you are, 40 runs of 22 balls made the big difference, and then 2 for 43, which leaves us now with the joy factor. Let's have the question up for you. The question of the joy factor today was someone that Ajay Jadeja has been socializing with recently. Which cricketing great and left-handed bowler dismissed Brian Lara with the first ball, his first ball? Now, the key there was not to combine cricketing great and left-handed bowler, because he was a left-handed bowler and a cricketing great. And the answer, of course, coming up, was none other than Inzamam-ul Haq, Faisalabad 1994. Do you see Inzamam bowl ever?
Do you
remember?
I used to. It was more of chucking rather than bowling.
I'm glad you said that, because
in those days they weren't probably following the arm as much as they do now. But it was almost, he had a very strong arm. We talk of Ravindra's arm, but Inzi's arm was
something else,
well.
right? It was something else.
Yeah, he was a great player.
Yes. So who won today's joy factor? Let's see who we've got in terms of our winner, because the winners kept coming in pretty quickly. Rohit Yadav, Crick Rohit, okay, but Yadav, not Sharma. Correctly answered by Rohit Yadav. Keep them coming, Rohit. What you must do though is drop us a tweet and say whether you Googled it, or whether you went to the Cricbuzz app to search for it, or whether you knew it, because quizzes are fun when you know the answer, or when you just close it and say, who could it be, arrive at a short list. If you're going to Google that, or if you're going to just go on a stats page, it's no fun. Anyway, so there you are. Zaheer Khan, Ajay Jadeja, West Indies 2-1 up. India need to win 2 to come back. So, and there's not much time. They just come down the highway.
It's 1-1.
Oh, sorry, 1-1. Why am I saying 2-1? I keep forgetting because
the stats are saying 1-1, but actually it should be 2-1. See, Harsha ji is coming along now. It's not just the numbers. We are going beyond the numbers now.
Yes. Thank you very much for coming to my rescue. That's a good team. So thank you to Zach and to Ajay. Remember, there's just one day between games. They just drive down on the highway and then they come to Mumbai. Not the Wankhede. but the Cricket Club of India, where a lot of great Indian tradition and a lot of love for cricket also resides. So we will of course be here at 1 o'clock day after tomorrow. That's Monday afternoon. Ajay and Zach, and hopefully we'll get another very good game. So thank you very much for joining Cricbuzz Live. We'll see you again.